Occasionally, the excruciating unknown is preferable to even the worst possible fact. When Maria Leone's 16-year-old daughter vanished without a trace, she had just that notion. Initially, family members continued to hold out hope that the girl would be discovered alive. However, as time went on, those dreams faded, and Maria started to pray that her kid would be found, even if she is no longer alive. This is the terrible story of Melanie Stacy Amaya. Come and join us as we unravel this horrible crime. Melanie Stacy Amaya. Who was she? The heroine of today, Melanie Stacy Amaya, was born on February 21, 2002, in the little Colombian hamlet of San Rafael. She was the oldest of Maria Leone and William Amaya's 2 daughters in a modest household. The couple's second daughter, Natalie, was born 2 years later. Girls were close, got along well, and trusted each other with all of their secrets from a young age. Additionally, the girls and their mother grew to trust one another. Melanie displayed her creative side early on. She drew wonderfully and had a particular interest in cosmetics. She declared that she would undoubtedly work as a stylist and makeup artist when she grew up, and that she enjoyed painting her friends, mother, sister, and toys. It should be mentioned that she performed rather well academically, and that her teachers thought she was a bright, smart, and driven young student. Since Amaya has always been outgoing, open, and friendly, she could be the life of any gathering, and people would gravitate toward her. It is not unexpected that she made a lot of friends both within and outside of school. Her ability to work with cosmetics allowed her to successfully accentuate her bright and appealing features. Melanie's parents filed for divorce when she was 14, yet they were able to separate amicably and keep their good friendship intact. Her father kept in touch with his daughters, gave them financial support, and actively participated in their lives. Maria started dating Ruben Morales after roughly 6 months, and the two eventually got married. Following the nuptials, the family relocated to the sizable Colombian metropolis of Medellin, where the man held a respectable career and where the girls had excellent opportunities for growth and education. The stepfather strove to give his teenage stepdaughters a better, more comfortable life and had a great relationship with them. He did not spare money for their hobbies or schooling. The dad showered them with love and care and regarded them as if they were his own daughters. In high school, Melanie started exhibiting a challenging and rather disobedient personality. She had a strong interest in music and even planned to drop out of school to focus entirely on it. She now wished to have a mixing console for her birthday and expressed her desire to become a DJ. The girl's arms, back, breast, and leg were all covered in numerous huge tattoos in vibrant colors. Melanie's parents did not interfere with her attempts to express herself and find her own way. Rather, they were taken aback when they unintentionally learned that Melanie experimented with illegal substances. However, there was a particular individual hiding behind the girl's odd and provocative behavior, appearance experiments, and illicit drug usage, who ultimately turned out to be the reason for her death. Melanie made the decision to have a party in 2016 to celebrate turning 14 and invited all of her friends along with a DJ. She lacked the funds to hire a professional musician, but friends introduced her to Miguel Naranjo, a 16-year-old disc jockey with great potential. The birthday girl gave it some thought and called Miguel, who was not only attractive but also very talented and charismatic. Young Melanie was literally taken over by this guy, and after they celebrated her birthday, they started talking. After a week, teens started to draw attention during their group outings in parks and on the city streets, and the girl introduced him to everyone as her boyfriend. The pair essentially became inseparable. They held hands tenderly and expressed their love in every manner. Miguel treated the young lover with respect and admiration, despite being from a large, relatively modest, if not impoverished family. Additionally, the guy genuinely charmed his parents when she introduced him to them, preventing them from interfering with their connection with Melanie. He gradually started to spend an increasing amount of time in his girlfriend's home, practically blending in. Miguel once confided in the girl's parents about his difficulties at home, including the fact that his mother disapproves of his music lessons and that their most recent argument resulted in her beating him and chasing him away, leaving him without a roof over his head. Maria felt sorry for the man and let him stay in their home while things calmed down, but she was unaware of the person she had welcomed into her family. Melanie and Miguel actually started living together after that. Everything proceeded smoothly for the first 6 months, and the adolescents were overjoyed as they had now genuinely become inseparable. But as time went on, the man revealed his true colors and had a negative, even harmful influence on his young partner. The girl started to behave and dress provocatively, studied less well, aggressively started getting tattoos, and announced that she was going to stop coming to school. As time went on, the pair started fighting frequently, and where they had previously tried to hide their relationship from their parents, now they did it in front of them. However, Maria was truly shocked to find out that her oldest daughter, Miguel, utilizes illegal narcotics. The mother made the decision to have a serious conversation with her daughter, who then opened out to her with tears in her eyes, confessing everything. However, Melanie promised her mother that she had only occasionally used illegal narcotics and that she would never do so again. Melanie unexpectedly defended Miguel when the pair decided to expel him due to his negative impact on their daughter, vowing that going forward, they would both make the decision together. Ruben and Maria grudgingly accepted, which led to yet another error. The girl blamed everything on sports or her own awkwardness, but she obstinately maintained that her boyfriend was to blame for the bruises they soon noticed on their daughter's body. But when the youngsters got into another heated argument 6 months later, Miguel battered the girl so severely that she had to go to the doctor. Melanie convinced Maria not to file a police report in relation to the attack and physical injuries, stating that she would continue to refute all of Maria's allegations and would not name her partner. Melanie's parents attempted to drive the pair apart and prevent them from cohabitating, but her daughter declared she was prepared to flee with her partner in the event that anything stood in the way of their affair. It took Melanie just over 2 years to discover that this man was ruining her life after all, in this toxic and bad relationship. The adolescents got into a heated argument early in May 2018, which escalated the scandal into physical abuse. Subsequently, Melanie took the initiative to tell the guy that they had to break up permanently. In addition, the girl threatened to report the beating she had received to the police if he did not pack up and leave her home that same day. Miguel was forced to abide by her requests. He even asked the ex-lover for forgiveness, giving the impression that he was over their breakup, but in reality, he was never able to let her go. The man started to practically stalk Melanie. He tracked her movements, spoke with her on a frequent basis, and sent her texts, which included everything from pleading for forgiveness to lovingly declaring her love to threats of murder. In order to prevent Miguel from approaching Melanie and from having any contact with her, Ruben decided to apply for a restraining order with the police, fearing for his stepdaughter's life. The schoolgirl's parents were deeply worried about the situation. Law enforcement, however, disregarded his request and did not view the situation as dangerous, since they believed the youngsters would resolve their differences on their own. Maria also made an appeal to the prosecutor's office, attempting to clarify that the man might indeed be a threat, but her remarks were dismissed as well. Somehow everyone believed that the 18-year-old boy would not hurt his ex-girlfriend. Yet this was the belief of people who were not acquainted with him. After the couple's separation of nearly 2 months, Miguel appeared to have cooled down and had stopped seeking out encounters with Melanie. The girl went about her business as usual, making noticeable progress in her school grades, going out with friends and practicing her music. Her parents attempted to erase the child's former partner from their memories and forget about him like a terrible dream, so they too had no reason to be concerned. The girl was attending her close friend Isaac's birthday celebration on June 28, 2018. The city's most well-liked nightclub was to host the celebration in honor of this occasion. Melanie meticulously got ready, picking out clothing, applying cosmetics, and styling herself because she wanted to appear amazing. After getting ready, Melanie bid her mother farewell and left the home for the waiting cab, vowing to return soon. Although Maria was not overly concerned because she was familiar with her daughter's acquaintances, she was perplexed to discover upon awakening in the morning that Melanie had not spent the night at home. It was concerning that Melanie's phone was off when she attempted to reach her. However, the mother made the decision that the youngsters had simply lost track of time, and that the smartphone might have simply run out of battery in an attempt to distract herself from her own depressing thoughts. When Maria called Isaac closer to noon, he genuinely astonished her by telling her that the girl had not shown up for the party, and that none of her friends had seen her or been able to get in touch with her. After that, the mother called every friend and classmate of her daughter, but none of them had any helpful information. As it happened, Nobody had seen the girl since she had left the house. The woman called William, the girl's biological father, and her ex-husband right away. They all raced to their house and filed a missing persons report at the police station with Ruben. However, the police station once again displayed negligence, stating that you have to wait 24 hours and the teenage girl is probably sleeping after a party at a friend's house and will show up soon. But Melanie's mom and stepfather decided not to waste any more time and started looking for her on their own with the help of friends and family. They made calls to all of the girl's acquaintances, searched every possible location for her, and posted hundreds of flyers, including one that Melanie had taken the night the girl vanished, all over the city with a thorough description of the young girl. She was spotted sporting white sneakers, light blue jeans, and a short blouse. Her physical attributes included being petite, having dark hair, brown eyes, and several tattoos. Her most notable tattoos were a fish on her right thigh concealing a motorcycle burn, and one under her clavicle that said, "Crazy Life." She also had a belly button piercing and a scar on her abdomen, which further marked her identity. She had a rose on her chest, a moon on her forearm, and wings on her back. They made it plain that they were completely frantic and that the official search need to begin right now as they distributed the flyers to passing cars and police officers on the street. Images of Melanie inundated social media as soon as the news broke. The entire weekend flew by, and Maria was up all night worrying about her kid. At last, Maria went to the police station early on Monday to report her daughter missing. Because Melanie was a kid, the search was deemed urgent. Officers looked through hospitals and mental health facilities to see if somebody with the same name or physical traits had been admitted, but they were unable to locate Melanie. Melanie's parents held out hope that she would still be alive when the days dragged on, and her disappearance worried them more. That's when the first lead surfaced. When a witness went to the police station to provide a statement, they said they had seen Melanie on June 28th at the El Pomar soccer field. They saw that the young woman was battered and filthy, looking as though she had fallen, and that she was accompanied by a young man who was dressed loosely, had a cap on, and was wearing big sport shoes. Even though this testimony helped with the search, things were still difficult. While most of her friends dressed that way, the description of the male with Melanie was quite generic. Yet Maria had one person in mind, the former partner of her daughter, Miguel Naranjo. Maria asked her daughter to get in touch with him. Miguel emphasized that he hadn't seen Melanie in weeks and claimed not to know where she was. He then showed his extreme concern, stating that he still had a tremendous deal of affection for her and would be devastated if something were to happen to her. Days later, though, more testimony refuted Miguel's claims, with every witness claiming to have seen them together at a party that evening, and that Miguel was quite inebriated. The prosecutor's office started to view Miguel as the primary suspect in Melanie's disappearance after these statements. They were granted a search warrant to investigate his home, but they were unable to locate Melanie. As a result, they were forced to return to their starting point, having no clue as to where the girl might have been. Maria prayed to God on July 5th of that year, unable to bear the uncertainty that her daughter was still gone. She woke up in agony and couldn't believe her daughter was still missing. Her prayers were heard, but not in a positive sense. Maria received a call from an unknown number that same day. The caller asked Maria not to reveal their identity to the police because they had not spoken earlier out of fear. And the voice on the other end told her to stop looking for her daughter because she had already left this world and was buried in a place called El Calvario. The caller did not allow Maria to ask any more questions. Maria hurried to the police station with her husband and two cops as soon as the call ended. They started walking toward the mountain, and she asked everyone she knew to assist in the search as well. They reached the mountain's location, El Calvario. The area was vast, covered with plants, and had numerous entrances. They had to walk through squatter homes and ascend numerous steep stairs in order to get to the top, which was exceedingly risky. In order to cover the area more rapidly, they decided to divide into multiple groups. Ruben headed towards a densely forested region behind one of the houses. Huge footprints covering the ground as though someone had been dragged attracted his attention. As he followed the track, he saw several flies swarming around, emitting an overpowering smell. He picked up a stick and started shifting the rocks on the ground. However, when he turned one over, he saw something dreadful, a head of a human. He alerted the police officers who were scanning the area right away. Because animals were frequently thrown there, They initially believed it might be an animal. After more stone removal and blood staining, they were eventually able to make out the severely damaged face that was obviously part of a human body. Maria, who didn't want it to be her daughter, couldn't stop crying. Melanie's sister Natalie speculated that it might be a different girl who had gone missing a while back. The entire family remained in denial. When the body was discovered, the officers called the forensic medicine services because, despite the girl's mutilation, they could see the tattoo on her chest. The mouth was open and covered in dirt. All of the teeth were broken, and one of the eyes had come loose. Additionally, the guy who buried her had put calcium oxide on her, which was a really unusual thing. The body was taken to the Institute of Legal Medicine and Forensic Sciences after being excavated by criminalistics. Within a few hours, specialists verified that Melanie was the one. The young woman's body bore evidence of several forms of assault, but the official cause of death was mechanical asphyxia. Owing to the advanced stage of decomposition, it was not possible to ascertain whether the young lady had been sexually abused, but it was certain that she had suffered serious mistreatment. Although her family was devastated and there was no longer any chance of finding her alive, they were nevertheless able to track down the awful individual who had carried out this horrific act. When the discovery was reported by the media, everyone's gaze went on Ruben, as they assumed that since he had discovered the body while by himself, he would be a suspect. The community, however, held other views. Although they were aware that Melanie had no enemies, they knew who may try to hurt her. Everyone knew that Miguel was a pretty violent young man, and that her relationship with him had not ended well. Miguel kept messaging Melanie's family in the meantime, claiming he was devastated by the young woman's passing and had tried everything to locate her, but no one was buying it. Eventually, a vengeful group of neighbors stormed Miguel's house and began to lynch him. Taking advantage of the situation, the police brought him to the station under the pretense of safeguarding him, but their true goal was to question him. He spoke quickly. They had to release him even though he maintained his innocence and was confident in his statements, given the lack of evidence against him. Nearly simultaneously, Ruben was exonerated of all charges related to the crime, since there was no proof linking him to the death of his stepdaughter. Investigators started looking into Miguel's connection with Melanie, even though he was the primary suspect. They quickly discovered that Miguel had severely beaten Melanie. They also find out who gave Maria the call. When Maria made the decision to identify them, she revealed that they were a Miguel relative who shared a home not far from the site of Melanie's body discovery. The cousin recalled seeing Miguel come to the residence at midnight on June 29th with a shovel and filthy shoes. After taking a long shower, he lit a fire and started burning clothes and makeup a few minutes later. On July 10th of that year, the agents acquired an arrest warrant for Miguel based on all the evidence they had gathered. When he willingly turned himself in to the authorities, he was accused of aggravated femicide. He proclaimed his innocence and rejected the accusations, wearing an odd smile. Miguel made the decision to enter into a plea agreement, acknowledging that he was the criminal in exchange for a less sentence after stalling the legal proceedings for 6 months. After the judges gave their approval, he started to describe the final moments of the young woman. On June 28, 2018, Miguel met Melanie at the disco, which was also the location of Isaac's birthday celebration. He walked over to say hello, but not before he saw that she was messaging another boy. He was overcome with envy at this point since he couldn't believe she was seeing another man. He struck her hard and slammed her to the ground when their heated disagreement turned violent. After that, they moved to a football field where they continued to argue. He eventually took her by the neck and choked her till she passed away. He made the decision to conceal her body at that very time, and he went back home to burn her clothes and possessions. Miguel rationalized his actions in his statement by claiming he was under the influence of drugs. Miguel did not want to specify where he killed Melanie or how he hid the body. Thus, the story was quite vague. The agents surmised that he had convinced her to speak alone next to her grave after escorting her to the sports complex. There were only two things they were confident of. Miguel was a murderer, and his motivations for killing were obsession and envy. Psychological analyses revealed that he was a violent, possessive, and volatile individual, but they also demonstrated that he was completely conscious of his conduct at the time of the crime, necessitating a trial. After the initial hearing on Friday, January 18, 2019, which took place about 7 months after the young woman was killed, Miguel was found guilty of aggravated homicide and given a sentence of 34 years and 8 months in jail. He apologized to Melanie's family and the public after learning of the jury's verdict, and he was subsequently sent to a Medellin jail. Even though they were happy with the outcome, the family unanimously said they would never forgive him. They became closer than ever after the trial. On his Facebook page, the biological father of the young lady expressed gratitude to all of the people who had helped him along the way. Even while the term wouldn't bring his daughter back, he claimed it at least demonstrated that these kinds of crimes aren't constantly going unpunished. There is a reality, though. Miguel's dangerousness had been reported to the authorities, and if the restraining order had been enforced, Melanie could still be alive.
Hey, thanks for sticking with us today. Check out this other thrilling videos for you to watch, and while you're at it, hit that subscribe and like button, and let us know down below your thoughts on today's case. Until then, take care.